going on?
He hasn't made it in yet. He should be in here shortly, but he hasn't made it in.
It was Joe Jackson. That's a good man gone bad. He had a barbershop. It was called Chopper Fella.
Joe Jackson's barbershop was top-notch.
He did real good work, you know, and he looked like was doing really good, you know.
Until May 24th, 2016, at the Rockwell Gardens in Oklahoma City.
I heard like pow, 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 pow.
Brenda Fox had just heard the gunshots that took her neighbor's life.
I didn't look out the window because I was scared.
Others in the complex heard it, but didn't see it. Joe Jackson was shot multiple times in the garage of his townhouse near Northwest 10th in Rockwell around 1 a.m., then left for dead.
It just hurts how he died in that garage, in the dark, by himself.
Joe's sister, Shanye, says he lived alone, hundreds of miles from her and the rest of his family in their hometown, Monroe, Louisiana. Nearly 5 hours passed before anyone reported something being wrong.
So the neighbor that lived here at this time was coming home from work, saw this door here standing open.
She stepped just inside the garage and saw Joe lying on the floor.
We want the crime scene to be as pristine as possible.
Detective Mike Brenton with Oklahoma City Police worked the case, beginning with a sweep of the garage.
Everything that we had suggested that the struggle started somewhere probably right inside the door. Likely he retreated back toward his house.
Crime scene investigators dusted for fingerprints on anything that could have been touched by the killer.
He carried it back in his hand as he was trying to retreat back to safety inside.
To better understand what was found and what could still be missing, we asked to review the case file.
This is the door that the killer would have gone through to go into Mr. Jackson's garage.
Investigators couldn't lift prints off the door handle, and a closer look showed no sign of forced entry, suggesting Joe most likely opened the door to someone he knew.
Mr. Jackson really didn't have an easy way to escape.
If he was ambushed, did the killer inadvertently leave DNA behind during the ensuing struggle? An empty soda bottle found near the body gave police some hope. Fingerprints and DNA. The forensic testing excluded the victim. Investigators uploaded the DNA profile and fingerprints to national databases in 2016, but there was no match.
I'm having that DNA profile rerun.
If Joe's killer has been arrested since the initial test, re-examining the DNA could produce a match now. Investigators also collected shell casings from the crime scene.
Those 5 shell casings were all submitted to our ballistics laboratory and found to have been fired from the same firearm, which tells me there was likely just one shooter.
That didn't, however, rule out the possibility of more than one suspect. Others who could have plotted with the gunman.
This is the inside of Mr. Jackson's apartment or townhome.
The evidence suggests Joe's killer never went inside. The house wasn't ransacked and nothing appeared to be missing. Why then would someone want to kill Joe?
To be honest, I really don't know. You know, at first I thought it was jealousy.
His sister says some people had it out for Joe because of his financial success.
He was just self-made. My brother had money all the time.
Joe ran a cash-only operation at his Louisiana-based barbershop. He was robbed numerous times and shot once. Joe had his own run-ins with the law too, mostly for drug crimes.
Maybe it is because of something that he was into. I don't know. But I do know that whatever it was, it didn't justify my brother's life being taken.
Shanye says her brother was accused of snitching in a drug case just before he moved to Oklahoma. She wonders if Joe's past somehow caught up with him.
Or did it have to do with a more recent business deal? We looked into Joe's barbershop in Oklahoma City where he bootlegged shoes and purses. We tracked down a close friend for more on his illegal trade.
We went to and we bought those purses, and then we ended up hooking up with a guy. He never
spoke of a name.
Whatever deal Joe made with that unknown man in 2013 apparently unnerved him.
He's like, if anything ever happened to me, you need to, and he made sure I knew who his contacts were.
Not long after, Homeland Security raided Joe's shop, seizing hundreds of counterfeit shoes, handbags, and clothing. He avoided prison, but couldn't dodge his debt for the seized goods. 3 years later, Joe ran into the man he owed in Texas.
He said, I think I seen them. I said, you sure? He said, I think I seen them.
Within 48 hours of the encounter, Joe was dead. Was his murder payback? The timing suggests it could have been, but an even stronger case can be made for Joe's murder being a botched robbery.
It was a lick. It's a lick. And he said it was a lick, and he said it's a big money.
A jailhouse informant provided investigators with a detailed account of Joe's murder. To protect the integrity of the case, we've hidden the identity.
Dude came outside and walked through, I guess, the townhouse. And he hit with the pistol, boom. Dude trying to, they rushed him. He shoots, boom, boom, boom. Hits, boom, boom. He said, dude trying to reach for his murder. I guess his gun or whatever he had. He tried to reach for it. He shot him against the clip down.
The informant claimed the suspects, one of them seeking revenge over a woman, concocted the plan to rob Joe by texting him and pretending to be someone else.
He parked outside. It's a government following the track.
Following the lead, detectives pulled the text from Joe's phone.
We have evidence that Mr. Jackson thought he was expecting a woman coming over to his residence.
Joe apparently caught on to the ruse. Cell phone records show just before 1 a.m., there was an incoming call that lasted several minutes, then nothing.
They had an idea who they were coming to talk to and how.
Police found who the other phone was registered to and say the evidence suggests someone else was using the phone. They began questioning Joe's personal contacts and close business associates.
Tell me what you know about Joe. I mean, Joe was cool. He saw weed. He bought weed from the barber shop.
Dustin Giles told investigators Joe cut his hair. They had some mutual friends, but he didn't know much about Joe's life outside of work.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, he knew everybody that came in there that I knew. I know he came in contact with a couple females I knew on Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
We wanted to follow up and went to Giles's home, but he wasn't there.
I was hoping to talk to Dustin Giles.
So we spoke by phone.
I don't understand why I'm still getting a call today for it.
You didn't have anything to do with his murder?
No, ma'am.
Still searching, police looked into the jealousy motive, questioning the many women in Joe's life.
We just talked on Facebook and on the phone, but we never actually hung out. I went to his house about 3 times. One of the nights that I stayed over there, somebody had came over there for some weed and he sold it to him.
It was apparently no secret Joe kept drugs and cash in his house. Investigators believe it's what got him killed.
I have a very good idea who did it.
But they say they don't have enough evidence to present charges to the district attorney, at least not yet. They need more people to come forward and help Joe Jackson and his family finally get justice.
That's all we want somebody to do, is just care about our family.
If you have any information that could help solve this case, call Oklahoma City Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous. On Deadline, Lisa Monahan, Oklahoma's own News 9.